Hello world, my name is Amelia and, well, I am stupid. Wait, just kind of spacey. A lot has happened over the past 2 weeks and I just happened to run into one of those, I don't know, it's kind of like writer's block where you just run into this one section of doing videos and then you just like, either you have some ideas and you can't flesh them out. I mean, I work like 45 hours a week and then also having to deal with a bunch of home issues and family, and I thought the worst of it was over. I guess I was wrong. So anyways, I don't want to dive into that right now because that's a whole nother issue in my life. But I did have a request from somebody who commented on my last video. I thought it was actually an excellent idea. Matter of fact, it was something that I've been wanting to do and I just never really got around to fleshing it out, I guess, because I was always never exactly sure how to do it. Somebody actually asked me to give a little video on voice. And one of the reasons I was actually not too sure about doing a video like this is just because it, in my opinion, oh, bad lash. In my opinion, you go a lot of places online and it's just, this topic has been covered extensively. And from what I've seen, most of the videos out there never really helped me. So I guess you can kind of say that's why eventually I just kind of gave in and was just like, okay, I'll do a video of my own. But the problem is at the same time is I kind of feel like any video I could potentially do is not going to be helpful necessary to most people. I guess I should at least make a video, at least cover the kind of things that I've experienced, but we'll just see how this goes. So anyways, I hope I sound good. I'm actually kind of a little congested right now, and for anybody out there, I guess, you know that when you get congested, your voice is kind of a little messed up, and I definitely feel that way. Sometimes I'll just be talking and my voice will just completely shift because, I have some sort of post-nasal drip or something like that, and it's kind of weird. It's just been really cold here in Kansas City. I think right now it's like 8 degrees outside. It's like the coldest it's been in 2020. And yeah, I am not looking forward to going to work. So I'm going to do a couple ways of breaking up this video. I'm going to kind of break it up into some sections. One of the things I want to do first is I want to cover the apps. Yes, the apps. There is at least 3 apps that I'm aware of. I think there's 3. I hope there's 3. There should be 3. My cats are doing something outside the door. And I want to cover real quick and just give my brief review on what's good about them, what's bad about them, what you need to look out for, and the ways that you can actually use them for your own improvement. So I'm going to stop the video and jump over and we'll kind of cut between each app. So let's get this started. Okay, so for the first app that I want to cover, this is probably one of the most common apps that's actually covered in most other videos when they talk about voice apps, is the Voice Pitch Analyzer. No, Target. Target's interrupting this video. Anyways, this app is honestly covered to death. And I would actually say that while this app did kind of help me later in my voice usage, it is definitely got its problems. There's definitely a lot of things that people point out that the app helps with, but it also doesn't help with. And I hope I can explain what I mean by that. So right here on my screen, yes, I have a very severely cracked screen. I have multiple recordings that I've done over the past while, just to put it plainly. Some of these, by the way, are friends. I just had friends record just to kind of see. Like, I do have, I guess you could say that's one reason I kind of always put this video off. I actually have my best friend, who is a cis female. She has a much deeper voice, and I had actually had her do a recording on here, and the recording actually came back as androgynous. And it was kind of funny because she actually told me, and I thought it was really touching, she had actually told me that because of how I'm working on my voice and the way that her voice came back on the app, it did actually make her feel better about the fact that she has a deeper voice. She always didn't like her deep voice. But it was after she knew, she had seen my recordings and saw where I fell, that she actually didn't feel as bad about it. But anyways, that's beyond the fact. And I was actually trying to get her to show up in one of my videos just so she could kind of preview it. I had a really cool idea. Who knows? Maybe I'll still do it. So the point is, I believe this was the last one I actually recorded. Now, some of you who have used this app know what you're actually looking at. Here, you're reflecting my ring into the camera. Some of you know what you're looking at. So down here at the bottom is the male range. Up here at the top is the female range. And then right here in the middle is the androgynous range. My last recording I did, I came just slightly above the androgynous range. On days that I really try at my voice, I can actually, on the days that I actually really try, I can actually get my voice to fall much higher above the normal. Like, I think a while ago when I was really trying, I ended up falling, my voice ended up coming like almost like 1/3 of the way up. And it was one of those things I was actually, like, I have actually developed quite the voice range. Yes, this app has kind of been a thing that has helped me. I remember when I first started, I went in for a job interview, and apparently I sounded so high-pitched that the person I interviewed with on prior, talked to him on the phone, they told me when I walked in that they expected like a 18-year-old, like 5-foot girl to come walking into the interview, and here comes me. A 32-year-old, and I'm 5'11". So, oh crap, I'm not 5'11", I'm actually 5'9.5". I used to be 5'11", like years and years ago, but that's outside the scope of this video. So anyways, yes, Mom. My mom's interview is interrupting our video now. So anyways, this whole time, I've actually just been talking normal here on camera. And while I have been talking, I went ahead and hit record on this app. So this is just me talking every day. I just did it this way so I wanted to show to people. The app just came back and said that I'm actually in the low androgynous range. So this is one of the things I want to prove, I want to show to people to help you understand that getting in the feminine range is not your goal when you're feminizing your voice. A lot of what has to do with your voice, and there goes my voice being scritchy, a lot that has to do with your ways that you speak are your mannerisms and the way that you say your words. Women have a much more vocal range. They don't talk monotoned. Men talk very monotoned, which can have a lot of, which can be very clocking, shall I say, to anybody out in the world who's looking, trying to figure out your gender. If you talk monotone, like you just kind of talk like this, just kind of talk, like I can even talk here up in my upper range, but if I just talk here and kind of talk like this, that's going to be a clocking feature. Women typically jump their voice around and they draw out like S's and stuff like that. I would have to say that that's, you know, talking about training, that was something that I very naturally just picked up on my own. Also, my hand movements is a very feminine thing to do. So, again, most of you watching right now know, you probably hear my voice and are thinking, oh, it sounds just great. She sounds great. The app just right now has told me that I was low. The app just told me, according to what most people would, contrary to what most people would believe, is that I am not feminine. I'm actually falling right about where my best friend falls. Now, I'm going to go ahead really quick. This is going to be difficult for me because I don't actually talk higher pitched very often. I try to. That is one thing that you got to look out for when you are doing this. We will cover the methods in a bit here because you can also find tons of methods elsewhere. But something that you got to look for when you are talking is talking to the point. You do not want to raise your voice until, because if you hit the falsetto range, that's when it instantly becomes clocking that you're trying too hard. I don't hit falsetto. That's one of the reasons that I also sound pretty good, because I'm raising really where my voice limit is. So I'm going to go ahead. Okay. Okay. Apparently that was recording again, I think. Alright. I'm going to try this again, but this time I'm going to actually try. Remember what, Harry? Where I heard the name Dorian Gray. Where was it? Asked Howard. Of course, just by the way, I'm not reading this exactly how it's written. I'm really bad at reading this kind of stuff. Don't look so angry, Basil. It was my aunt, Lady Augusta. She told me she had discovered a wonderful young man who has been going to help her in the East End, and that his name is Dorian Gray. I am bound to state that she never told me he was good looking. Women have no appreciation of good looks. At least, good women have not. She said that he was very earnest and had a beautiful nature. I at once pictured myself a creature of spectacular and voluptuous and virile freckles. Okay, I'm going to stop it right there. Now, I was pushing myself a little higher, and as you can see, I'm actually only on the upper ends of androgynous. Of course, I haven't been talking high all day. This is literally me just waking up, and then also not to remember that I'm getting a little bit of my congestion, which doesn't help. We'll get what my point is. Look at me, I'm even here sitting here freaking out about it. My point is don't base your voice on this app. Don't use this app as your one-stop shop for knowing if you pass. It comes down to mannerisms. It comes down to hitting what you can do, making your voice, and not to mention the more that you talk higher pitched, the slower over time it will take. Your voice feminizing is going to take time, just like any other thing. Like when you start estrogen. Like, okay, when I started my HRT, I honestly didn't think I saw results at first. But slowly things were happening. And a lot of you who are seeing me right now in this video could be thinking, wow, you look really good. I'm just going off of what people usually tell me. This is 15 months. This is what has happened to me after 15 months. And I'm still not perfect. And there goes my computer screen. So, just to point out to you, it takes time. Voice also takes time. This took me time. So, we'll stop here. And I'm going to go to the next app. There's not a whole lot else to show here. Other than like there is this one button you can press. It shows you your voice over time. You can kind of see, if you can see this, you can kind of see how I've been jumping right around the androgynous range. A couple times I really messed it up. But anyways. And my cat is sniffing a blanket over there. Anyways, next app. Okay, so the reason that I was thinking that there was 3 apps, and I'm just going to try to make this one very, very brief. And don't get me wrong, there probably is, I hate this when I feel like my camera's off-centered. Don't get me wrong, there probably is another 3rd app out there, but I know that these are the 3 apps that I have used. So this one is Voice Pitch Monitor. It doesn't actually, one thing I will have to say, something I really like about this app over so many other apps that I've used, is the fact that it actually just shows you your voice as you're talking. So as you can see here right now, as I talk, again, I'm getting my ring in the video. As I talk over here, I'm going to give up at that. You can see that my voice level is actually being printed out on the display. So if I talk a little higher up like here, you can all of a sudden see how they move up to the top. When I talk a little bit down here, like I talk like this, and yes, this is just me with my range, you're probably all like, oh my gosh. You could just see how the level dropped. it dropped to about a C4. And then when I sit here and talk up here like this, I'm actually getting closer to this, or the deep was C3, and then you can see how I actually get up to about a C4. So one of the things that this is really good for to help with your voice is to find where your top pitch is at. What I really like to do with this one is you're going to harmonize. You're going to try to hit certain beats, certain keys. By the way, I am not a musical person. I only know what I know because of my voice practice. So a lot of the people who make a lot of these videos are musical people. I was never a musical person. I really don't even understand how most of it works. My sister played piano and that was about it. So what you're going to do is so right there, I was hitting just about a D4, and then this is not helping my voice right now, especially because of the congestion. So you can also sit here and go, I'm just making this worse. So then the other one is so I know when I first started using this app, one of the things that I noticed was with my deeper voice, I was like way down here. I was kind of down, let me see if I can remember. I was kind of almost like pushing below, almost like an A2, something like that. So just again, one of these things, this is a great app to know where you typically speak. Just open up the app, look at it, kind of just talk, kind of see. And then what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to raise and move your voice up and down. One of the places you really want to hit is that C4. C4 is about the point where, I guess you could say C4 is a very androgynous level where you do start coming off as feminine. I mean, now that's not to say you have to be above that. You can still sound feminine while having a deep voice. So if you can hit right in the range where I've been hitting here, right between the C3 and the C4, you will actually do pretty good. That's really where your target needs to be. But what's the best thing is to just daily practice and open up this app and just harmonize in front of the app. I really feel like I'm making a fool of myself, by the way. Just harmonize on the app, and what you're going to want to do is keep stretching, but watch out for the falsetto, because here, I will try to hit the falsetto. I hate hitting the falsetto. So, see, because when you start talking like this, see, I'm actually hitting higher up, but it's the falsetto. And that's hitting like a C5, which would be actually really good. But that's the problem with a lot of these apps. And again, same app with the vocal pitch monitor, is you start talking really high like this, like Minnie Mouse, and then you come off as fake. Yeah, on the app, you might be thinking, oh, I'm doing really good. I'm coming really, no, you sound like Minnie Mouse. And I have met a good number of trans people who sound like Minnie Mouse. Please don't do that. Please stay away from the falsetto. You need to talk. You need to give it time. Here's the things I can say using these apps. Give it time. Take breaks. Drink plenty of water, which has probably been my mistake right now. I have I have my coffee over here, but this is probably the worst thing for me to be drinking right now while I'm doing these. It's early. I literally gotta get ready for work here in an hour. So anyways, drinking my coffee, not a good idea. But you want to drink water and you want to gurgle it. That's a really good way to help warm up your vocal cords. So anyways, 6 minutes on this, but I guess I get my point across, I hope. Try to work on hitting C4. C4 is usually pretty achievable for most. AMABs. Oh, and by the way, I totally forgot to mention this. Because I'm a trans woman, I'm only going to really be able to speak from the higher pitch perspective. I know I have a couple trans men as friends, but I really don't know what the opposite is. Other than I can say, like what I was mentioning before, if you are a trans man, work on talking monotoned. Work on not doing what women do. I guess just do the opposite of what I'm saying. But there is a whole lot other hints out there. You can get some hints from some trans men out there. There's some videos out there just doing the opposite. I can't speak on them. I literally do not know. I know that when my voice was deeper, I was like way down here. So, but we'll cover that in the last part of this video. So anyways, let's move on. Okay, so this last and final app is called, I hope I'm pronouncing the name right, it's Vocal. Anyways, it's another app that does commonly pop up on like voice feminizing videos. Oh my gosh, I am really starting to have some problems talking. I need to like blow my nose. So anyways, this app is kind of interesting. If I remember correctly, I actually did not have it on my phone. I had to take the last 15 minutes just being like search for it, install it, uninstall old apps, because by the way, this phone is old. So the way it works is it records your voice, and then it actually shows you a lot more details about your voice. Again, probably details that most trans... I'm being interrupted by my roommate now. Most trans people would not need necessarily. I mean, it might help you a little bit. It does go a little more in depth. I don't know, I guess maybe it is stuff you do need. Anyways, so let's get started. So you open the app and you hit this button in the middle to start. It asks, can we record your voice? Can we access your media files? You know, things like that. Right away it says, go ahead and talk for 30 seconds and then tap stop. Okay, so I've been talking for about 10 minutes. So I'm sitting here just talking, chatting, you know, telling you about how this app works. And again, hopefully I'm not going to be on this app for too long. I'm not going to be talking too long. We're already, what, 15 minutes into this video, and I still have a whole other thing to talk about. So anyways, 30 seconds, right? Okay, we can go ahead and stop. Okay, so when I hit stop, it's going to analyze my voice, as you can see here. And it actually tells me, you can see right here, it shows faces down at the bottom. It claims that my voice actually sounds similar to Helen Mirren, Jennifer Aniston, and Nigella Lawson. I have no idea who any of those are. So we'll just go whatever. Okay, so the thing it does is it shows me the analysis here. It says that my depth was 139 hertz. I averaged around, it's behind a crack, 182. My median was 182. My mode was 153. The highest I hit was 229 hertz. My vocal fray, now I have come to find that this one is actually very important, is on this line right here where it says vocal fray. That I think that has to do with like consistency. So something to keep in mind, if anything, I was to suggest anything for using this app, that would be one thing to look at. Because if your vocal fray is starting to get too high or too out, that might mean that you're actually trying too hard. I can't really explain what vocal fray actually means. Just know that I have found that the lower my fray, the better I sounded. It says that my musical note was a tenor. A tenor? I told you, I'm not a musical person. It says I'm a C1. Classification is higher. My reliability is actually really good. And I had a 25.76 variance in my voice, which again, that means variance in my pitches. I would believe that means very similar to what we were just talking about. There's the similars too. So if you click on that tab, it actually shows you the first three, and then it keeps going. Oh, hey, Kristen Bell. It actually says I'm 55% similar to Kristen Bell, which that's actually, okay, short little side trail here. So anybody who actually knows me a little more, I am actually an Anna cosplayer. Kristen Bell is the voice of Anna. And I've always known that her voice was a little deeper. Apparently, just a little thing about her voice I found out. So when she started doing the voice for Anna in Frozen, her voice was much higher pitched. And then during production, she actually had gotten pregnant. She had actually started recording lines and then got pregnant. Well, because of what pregnancy does to your body, her voice actually got deeper. So they had to go back and completely record. Okay, Mom. They had to go back and they had to completely re-record a bunch of her lines just because the fact that her voice got deeper, which is kind of cool for me because now it means her voice was deeper and it means it got closer to me actually being able to do it. So anyways, I'm an Anna cosplayer and I rely very heavily on my voice, especially my post-transition voice, to actually use when I'm in costume. And I have a lot of little kids who love to see me. Anyways, that's a whole nother story. Theresa May, Piers Morgan, okay, so now that's a guy. Emma Thompson, Kim Kardashian, 51%. Judi Dench, Beyonce. Okay, so what's really cool here is I've only seen 2 guys so far. 46% like Jennifer Lawrence. I don't see, I'm even still scrolling. Okay, there's a 3rd guy. 41% like Anne Hathaway. Yeah, I mostly sound like women, which again is probably a good way to actually be able to determine where your voice is falling. Because if it's coming back and saying that you're sounding a lot like a bunch of women, I would definitely say that's a positive thing. And then there's just that distribution chart. So, not much to talk about. Here I am now 6 minutes into this app. I can't really say, again, other than that, what else I can say about this. I mean, it's kind of a lot like the voice pitch analyzer. So anyways, we're done. Okay, on to my final part. Hopefully let's make this quick. Oh. Okay, so since we reviewed those 3 apps, now I'm going to move on to the methods, I guess, the way that I actually ended up practicing. Because obviously the way I'm talking now was practiced. It was not something that just happened overnight. And trust me, I so badly wanted it to happen overnight. It never did. And honestly, my voice will probably continue to bloom and blossom as time goes on. And just so I set the record straight, hormones do not affect your voice when you're a trans woman. They affect your voice if you're a trans man because testosterone makes it deeper. Estrogen cannot undo the damage that testosterone does. So anyways, something I want to cover is that my voice has kind of gotten higher pitched over the years. It has taken almost literal years for my voice to get where it is now. And that's mostly because when I was a teenager, I actually did mimic female voices. My mom was one of them that I mimicked a lot. That's why up till about the age of 18, I would answer the phone and a lot of people actually thought I was my mom. Very interesting, honestly. After that, I don't know, about around 16, I started giving into my voice getting deeper because I just, oh, well, that's what it's supposed to be. And then it was sometime in my early 20s that my egg cracked and I was finally like, something's wrong here, and I started doing cross-dressing and cross-playing and all this other fun stuff, and I started trying to raise my voice because I hated how deep my voice was. Not to mention, I had noticed how my voice actually sounded like my dad, and as any trans woman can say, when you start comparing yourself to your dad and noticing the similarities, it can really start freaking you out. To be honest, I just watched the Goofy movie last night, and watching all the horror scenes, especially there in the beginning, when Max starts seeing himself turn into his dad. I all of a sudden remember seeing that movie back in the day and being like, oh my gosh, that's exactly how it felt. It was so scary because it was like, I don't want to be my dad. So this video I'm gonna play here real quick is from November 3rd, 2013. It is actually a very embarrassing video. I hope I hope it's not too bad. So I'm gonna go ahead and play it real quick. So here you go. Let's hope. I'm gonna go ahead and just play it back here. I have it up on my screen.
Okay, so to make a visual coverage, so definitely need to work on makeup. So from foundation, I'm thinking eyeliner. I'm gonna try doing the white, so I need to check on that.
Shouldn't have to play
I also
very
need to
much
find
of
a
this.
brighter foundation to go around the eyes. I want to do the eyeline. I might even look to see what falsies cost. Hopefully they're not too bad. My forehead's okay. I don't think I have too much up there. So, shave real quick, obviously. And I might need to do some wig checking before anything goes on there. Haircut.
So, I don't need to play very much of that for it to be embarrassing. I'm gonna play that much. Anyways, I don't want to waste too much on that. Anyways, that was my voice. And that was me clean shaven. That was me 7 years ago. That was the kind of facial hair I had. I'm not even going to get into all the work that has gone into me so far to get me to look like this. So anyways, that was about probably the deepest my voice was ever. Around that time, Frozen had come out. I'm a huge Frozen fan, and like I said while reviewing the last app, I'm an Anna cosplayer. After Frozen came out, I sung a lot of the Frozen songs. It was one of those things that I sung very religiously and very often, and it was the thing that allowed me, so that would be one of my one of my hints to people who are trying to feminize their voice, is work on mimicking female voices. Pay attention to how women talk. Talking about that whole thing about changing your pitch up and down, the mannerisms, mimicking the fact that a lot of women use their hands and move their hands around when they're talking. They're very animated, is the way I should describe it. It's a really good way of helping to work on those mannerisms. But as time went on, my voice did slowly start getting a little better. I will have another video. I didn't want to waste the time finding the video. I found that video because I knew about it, but I have another short video I can play here in a second. So let me just go ahead and insert that right here. Hello everybody, I'm Princess Anna of Arendelle, and it's very awesome to finally meet you all. So, I just wanted to come and say hi, and just tell you how wonderful it is to finally meet you. By the way, have you seen my sister, Elsa? We were supposed to meet here and do this together, but obviously I haven't been able to find her. I got it. I know what I can do. Do you want to build a snowman? Yeah, that doesn't always work. Anyways, so... I'm gonna have to go look for her. That's all I can really think about doing right now. Anyways, bye. And then we're back. Time. Woo. Anyways, that was probably around, if it's the video I'm thinking of, it was me actually in my Anna cosplay. That was about when I actually was kind of trying. And then I have another video, this other video, so here's your third video. This was me talking, I was at Disneyland. I was just recording a short video. This is another great video I could pop in right here. I was kind of trying, but this was earlier last year, so this was around February or April, I think. So that would just give you an idea of how my voice was still very early on, not quite there. It was better, but not perfect. So, put it right here. So anyways, it is currently 10:04 at night, and you are kind of dreading to go back to your
Not because something awaits you there, just because you are relaxed right now and you feel at ease. You actually feel... I feel relaxed right now. I feel somewhat comfortable. Anyways, I don't know where you are. I don't know. There's a little video I guess I'm recording for future me to look back at one day and remember where you've been, or where you are.
And then we're back. Amazing how editing works. Woo! Gotta love the editing. So that gives you your preview of my voices. We went over the apps, and now the final part. Now, I'm not going to cover on this part. I know I'm saving the best for last. You all are like, oh my gosh, tell us your secret. The honest truth is there's not very much secret to be shared. I know I'm disappointing so many of you. You can find plenty of videos online that actually cover how to do it. There was actually a really good video I watched. It was done by another trans girl. Her name was also Amelia, believe it or not. And I really liked her videos. I'll leave the link to her video. I know she did a first part. I know she did another video after that. I have no idea if she did any more videos, but that first part really did help cover. I will cover, though, what I do know personally. Because, again, I'm not a musical person. A lot of men talk down here. They talk down here and there. And this actually really hurts my voice to do right now. A lot of them talk down here. They rumble in their chest. So one of the first things that I can suggest as far as the direction you need to be going is to try to remove the rumbling from the chest. You need to bring your voice more up here in your throat and bringing it forward. The other thing is when you're talking, and of course my congestion is being horrible right now for me to give these examples, is you want to talk from the front of your mouth. So again, you are coming down from the chest rumbling. So like I can put my hand right here on my chest, and when I'm talking, I don't feel very much rumbling in my chest. That it's kind of like talking nasally when you're sitting here talking like up here like this, but that's not what I'm doing. I'm just removing the voice from my chest, talking more up here and more towards the front. Another thing that you can actually do, so what you want to do is you want to produce your words up here in the front, like more try to produce them up towards your teeth and the tip of your tongue. That's another way to help make the words come off more, what's the word? I don't know the terms. That has been those right there have been the best way that I have worked on my voice. One of the things that I did very early on as starting to get my voice working out was to sit here and do this. You harmonize your M's, so you're and you go ma, me, and you want to do it until you feel your lips vibrate. And remove that rumbling from the chest when you're doing this. Ma, me. Those are one of the best ways. There was an itch in my ear. Those are one of the best ways that you can practice your voice. Bringing it forward, sporking forward. You're kind of talking nasally, but you're not exactly. Don't talk nasally. That comes off as bad. I have heard some trans women who talk nasally, who do exactly what I said not to do. And yeah, there's always something very awkward about their voice. I know a couple trans friends that have that exact problem. They talk very nasally, and I'm like, what is up? Something's up with your voice. It doesn't sound exactly right. And then finally, those were the things I did over the past 12 months that really helped. But finally, the big thing that helped, and this is going to be the biggest lifesaver that I do not see most other places online, practice. Or I should say, they do say practice, but they don't talk about how to practice. The way that I practiced was because I work a customer service job. I actually work at a hardware store. I don't know, you probably can find out what hardware store I'm talking about. Big Blue. Yeah, not the orange box. And when my voice was not quite there, I believe I mentioned it in one of the previous reviews I was doing, that when I went in for that interview, the person who interviewed me, she thought that the person who processed my paperwork, she thought that this young 18-year-old 5-foot girl was going to come walking in. That was not who walked in. The reason that was because my voice was so high-pitched, I was forcing it so high that that's how it came off. Not to say that was wrong, but it just, that was not the voice I was trying to give off. Because I am older, I am taller, your voice needs to be appropriate to who you are. You need to, don't feel bad if you don't sound like other people. Stop comparing yourself to other people. Yes, I did earlier mention try to mimic other women, but don't try to feel bad if you're not equating. What really it comes down to is voice has a lot to do with passing. Absolutely. I would agree that for myself. It has been a huge benefit to me passing, as well as the image. I have seen some trans women who look absolutely gorgeous and have this absolutely deep voice. It's kind of scary. So do work on your voice, but don't feel bad if you're falling in that androgynous range like I was talking about at the beginning of this video. There is nothing wrong with sounding androgynous. I sound androgynous, and look at how I sound. So anyways, you're going to, it's going to be a hard journey. But like I was saying about where I work, it was in customer service. I talk daily. I probably talk, the amount of that I have to talk in front of strangers probably runs at least half of my shift, if not more. Especially if you're, because I started as a cashier. I'm actually just customer service now. But as a cashier, it was one customer after another customer, and another customer. Each customer would step up and I'd be, how are you doing today? Did you find everything okay? That is repetitive practice. And as you practice, if you are in a job like that, if you answer phone calls or any of that, in between your communication with the customer, do exactly what I said. Ma, me. Bring the voice up. Again, try not to hit that falsetto. And then use that voice to practice, even if you have to push just a little bit higher. I hope I'm not being confusing or contradicting. And use that voice to produce your next sentence. Listen. That's another thing, being able to record your voice. So like if you have a voice recorder app, it's a great way to talk and just kind of hear yourself back. Again, don't rely too much on that because it doesn't always sound right, because the way the sound echoes in your head is going to sound a little different than how people perceive you. But that's a great way to hear it. And then also just have friends that are going to be honest with you about it. Obviously there's the whole hug boxing issue. Don't be just be discerning of people who might just be hug boxing you. Again, don't accuse of somebody of doing it, but get a vast array of opinions from people. If you have friends, you can just be like, know that you're trans, that you trust, be like, hey, how's my voice? Most of the time I had a lot of friends who were like, oh, it sounds fine. Okay, and then move about your day. Go to the next friend. How's my voice? Oh, it sounds fine. Sometimes, actually, another trans woman can actually be the best source for that kind of feedback, too. One of my coworkers at my job is also a trans woman, and I remember sitting down for lunch one time and just chatting with her, and she literally sat there and looked at me and said, your voice sounds amazing. She's like, I think it sounds good. And she has a pretty decent voice herself. So, I'm going to try leaving this video here. I have been rambling now. I had a feeling my last part was going to be rambling, and I am sure I'm pushing over 30 minutes of this video. We went over the apps, we went over what my methods are, a little bit of my history with it, and you saw some videos to see how I use the sound. So anyways, I'm going to try to get this video posted as soon as possible. I actually got to be getting ready for work right now. So don't forget to follow me on social media. I know I said this a billion times. Do not forget to subscribe to this channel. I know there is actually some of you who watch these videos and don't subscribe. I know, again, I had probably, what, 2-3 weeks between my last video. It's been a little bit of a hassle living alone and then bringing in roommates and then dealing with the whole fun of, because I'm the homeowner. So anyways, I will catch you next time in my next video. Bye.